Hey, it's Alex, and here's a few ways to get more out of Borderlands 4. I'm covering in this one advanced movement, combat tips, something powerful to keep an eye out for in your fishing attempts, the good kind, strong modifiers I recommend you look for in your gear drops, and at the very end of this, how to find and unlock instanced vaults. First, some advanced movement tricks that are going to improve every class, every playstyle, unless you just stand still. But there is an important hidden mechanic built into your dash, using its burst of momentum to extend your jumps. It's pretty easy once you get it down, and you'll start using it all the time. There's 3 ways to do a momentum jump out of a dash: an extended strafe to the side, a quick long evade backwards, or a rapid leap jump forward. To do a momentum jump to the side, just hold left or right, then tap sprint to dash, very quickly followed by jump. That'll launch your character further off to one of the sides. This one for sure is useful for getting yourself out of range of incoming attacks, especially for bosses. Other option is to be holding back, tap dash, then jump to evade a further distance backwards. Another one that's useful for getting yourself out of range quickly of damage. Or if you're more of a backline sniper player that likes to keep things out of your bubble, this is a great way to quickly distance yourself from threats while maintaining your aim nicely centered on the target. All of this can be chained into an air glide as well by just holding the jump input. Last option for this kind of momentum jump is to do it forward, which does require 1 extra input. So be moving forward, jump, then dash, immediately followed by jump again. This is a solid distance closer for close combat style playstyles, going either melee focus, shotgunner, or maybe SMG. Get in the habit of using this jump dash jump to launch yourself closer into those lovely faces. If you've beaten the first major boss, you'll know why it's important to be able to move further faster to get to safety from big AoE attacks. If you're not there yet, this will help immensely. Another way to use this, you can press crouch during it to end this extended jump combo with a ground pound. That opens up more ways you can use that normally straight down ground pound, kind of like leap into ground pound. Put that all together into a nice little combo meal and you have momentum jump, shoot, ground pound, did. Oh, and you know those heavy weapons that use your ordnance slot? Those will limit your movement speed while you hold them. But you can use that dash into jump then glide to pretty much entirely counter that movement penalty. That lets you use some of the beefiest weapons still while rapidly flying around the battlefield and look pretty epic if you have any friends watching. There's more movement tech to get into, but let's break from that by getting intimate with barrels. Let me explain. There's more to these containers of death than simply shooting them, hoping someone just happens to walk by. A little melee bash to this style of barrel will not instantly detonate it in your grill, but instead launch it forward. This puts barrels more on the offensive, letting you use skill to get more out of them. Another option, just slide into a barrel. This will launch it slightly up and forward, just like the melee option. This, however, feels cooler, so yeah. Gotta say though, pretty satisfying. Last option, ground pound right next to a barrel to launch it more directly upward rather than straight forward. Someone chasing you or something, send them a nice aerial gift barrel behind you. Fishing. Okay, there's more to fishing than you might think. When you find a grouping of jumping fishes and get close enough, you can use your grapple to pull out usually useless cans, but each attempt is like pulling the handle on a randomized loot dispenser. If you're lucky, it can spit out an individual piece of gear, or extra lucky, it'll spit out multiple items up into the air. If the water is deep though, you can lose those airborne items if you don't quickly pull them over to you with a grapple, so don't pull over something you don't want like I did here. However, the whole reason I brought up fishing is because you need to be on the constant lookout of when you eventually pull this beauty boy. If you fish and get extra lucky, you'll see a mid-air flying fish with an orange aura around it. Don't miss pulling this one in, because this is a special legendary ordnance named Slippy. This is a pretty ridiculous and powerful grenade? Fishnade? I don't know, but throw this out and a fish will bounce into multiple exploding fish, which then bounce into more multiple exploding fish. This has a unique property on it called Swordfish that turns its explosive radius into melee damage. Slippy is comically strong if someone is unlucky enough to be within range of it, and if you happen to be lucky enough to fish one out, this might become your primary fish nade for quite a long time. As far as I know, there's no preset location of where it spawns, so you just have to test your luck with those fishing spots. I got mine in the starting biome, but if you happen to pull one in one of the other biomes, let me know. Now, a few more ways to take your character's movement to the next level by harnessing slopes, like your new best friend, stairs. By sliding down slopes, like any stairs, you can jump during that slide to use the burst of momentum to quickly travel long distances. So all those stairs that you see all over the place in combat arenas, those are actually trampoline jump ramps placed for you to slide jump off of for rapid movement, maybe. Or they're just stairs. Since I like to use a hectic aggro close quarters playstyle, this is yet another useful technique I find myself constantly using to get that shotgun barrel as closely to faces as possible. You can use the momentum of these slopes to obviously get in closer range, or to flank and throw enemies off that think they had you pinned down, or rush over to a new position. Whenever you find yourself on the glorious good side of stairs, slide down into a jump to play a bit faster. I love seeing this kind of stuff. I'll appreciate it. Combo meals some of this stuff together, like the dash jump from before, slope momentum, and grapple point mechanic, and there's more to the movement system than you might initially think. The slide can also be used to open containers, since your foot functions like an active melee attack. That's one way to open multiple things all at once without spamming the use button. Or just try tapping slide and then immediately press sprint to cancel out of it, to quickly pop those little ammo stashes as you just pass by them. Which takes us into the last movement tech I have for you, using your vehicle. Sometimes on-foot jumps and glides are just not enough to get up to where you want to be. But if you can summon your vehicle where you're at, that also means you have essentially access to a quad jump. Just jump while you're on the vehicle and press the exit input quickly after to launch yourself up off of it, followed by using your regular jumps. If you like to get up to safe positions overlooking outposts and want to maybe shortcut into the backside of a base, or get up to some weird hidden nugget, using this vehicle jump into jump is a useful tool for getting around the map. It's a massive open world game we're spending huge chunks of time in, so I'm all for these kind of shenanigans. Now, if you weren't so lucky with acquiring Slippy, that fish I mentioned before, here's another ordnance I recommend you keep a lookout for, which is a grenade with the Singularity effect on it. The Singularity orb has two pretty useful functions. The obvious, it pulls multiple enemies into a nice single clump for you and your team to easily nuke. But also, for some of the elite enemies out there, this can disable them for extended periods of time, as they just kind of flop around helplessly in the air. There's also a modifier that you might come across that makes the Singularity better, called the Prolonged Augment. Since I mostly use this for its crowd control effects, this is a pretty big bonus. Singularity is going to be useful for playing solo or with a team. Everybody loves a nice pile of enemies they can press their buttons on. By the way, some weapons can come with the Gravity Harpoon alternate fire, which does pretty much the same Singularity effect, while also freeing up that ordnance slot. The next thing I suggest looking out for on your weapon drops are the proximity mines. Shoot these out, nothing special, stationary mines like you would expect, but these have a strong enemy homing property, so you can use these more offensively to stack massive amounts of explosive damage to a pile or just single targets. The proximity mines, when they all group together, can delete some health bars pretty quickly, and they come back just automatically over time on your alternate fire. Oh, and that Singularity effect from before, these mines synergize perfectly with that, homing all those explosive balls nicely into the floating pile of enemies. Another one that I like for its quick damage spike potential is the Knife Launcher alternate fire. This is a single fire shot of a big old damage number, but if you can guarantee a crit, this is another health bar deleter. A way to guarantee a headshot is to have something that can freeze. This will give you just enough time to swap to that alternate fire knife launcher, precisely place it into their noggin, pull the trigger, and they'll likely not thaw out nicely. For your side it is nice, for their side it's not nice. Which takes us now into the very last section of this guide, which is how to find and open vaults, because you are a vault hunter, aren't you? Vaults are special instanced areas that have tons of loot and also give a permanent passive improvement to your character on first time completion. I'm not going to show the inside of any vaults, but if you find the idea of how to purposely seek them out kinda spoilery, I'm going to thank you for watching this right now. Go check out my socials at BoomstickAlex and let me know what you think of Borderlands 4 so far. See ya if you're leaving right now. Okay, for those sticking around, if you're pretty confident with your build, I recommend seeking out a vault for its quality rewards. Each major biome has 3 vault fragments, which you'll need to highlight a zone, open this menu to check and see if there's even a vault fragment in that area. If it does, you'll then need to find the area's silo and unlock it. A silo shows up on your map with this icon, or it might be a question mark if you haven't traveled over to that location yet. At the silo, you'll have to clear out some enemies and look for the command center, which has a console in it that you'll need to activate. Once the silo is powered, it'll add a big circle to your map which indicates the general area of where the vault fragment is. Then when you're in that circle, you'll see on the right side of the screen a proximity meter, and the more bars that fill means you're getting closer to where it's at. The vault fragment is gonna look like a vault fragment, I don't know, it's one part of a key. Once you've acquired all 3 vault fragments in the biome that you're in, the map will then update with the general location of its vault. Again, use that proximity meter on the right to know if you're getting closer to the vault. Once found, stick in that completed key, and you have yourself a fairly challenging instance dungeon with a boss at the end of it, but there is a lot of potential for loot, and you get a permanent passive upgrade effect for your character. Don't worry too much about what character level you're at when you unlock a vault, because you can just use some in-game currency to fully reset the vault. So then you can do it again at a higher level, which updates its loot table. And with that, I think hopefully somehow I've improved your playthrough of Borderlands 4. Let me know. As always, I'm Alex, and I'll see you in the next one.